Hi, my name is Lexi Vollmer, and this is the effect of human-animal interaction on length of stay for shelter animals. To outline this presentation, I'll be giving some background information on why this topic is important, then going over what my Capstone project addresses, the partner organization I worked with for this project, my methods, results, and the implications of them, as well as next steps moving forward. To give some background, about 56% of dogs and 71% of cats that enter the shelter system are euthanized every year. These are very large and heartbreaking numbers. For example, based off those percentages, only about one of the 2 dogs pictured and one of the 4 cats pictured below would successfully make it out of the shelter system and into an adopted family. This is also an important topic not just for the animals but for people as well, since animals are great companions for people and can drastically improve mental health and well-being for people who are looking for that companionship and unconditional attention. Animals that are in the shelter that present as more affectionate and social are more likely to be adopted than animals that are either showing undesirable behaviors such as jumping, barking, hiding, or being unresponsive. So the goal is going to be to tap into that and make animals seem more appealing to potential adopters. The goal of this Capstone project is going to be helping animals get adopted faster. The steps for this project were identifying a need, which was lowering length of stay and getting animals adopted quicker. Next, what I needed to do was add interactive elements. These included treat chutes and buckets for dogs and baskets including toys, treats, and catnip for the cats. This is meant to increase the human-animal interaction while clients are visiting the animal shelter and hopefully grab their attention and drive them to want to meet and ultimately adopt these animals. This in turn would decrease length of stay as the animals are getting more attention on them and getting out the door faster. My partner organization was the Lancaster Center for Animal Life Saving. Some more information about them. They're under the branch of Humane Pennsylvania that incorporates one of 2 shelters. The one I worked with was located in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. The other is located next door in Berks County. They are a nonprofit shelter housing cats, dogs, and other small animals such as rabbits, guinea pigs, birds, and lizards. The capacity they were working with were upwards of 30 available dog kennels and 3 cat rooms. 2 colony cat rooms where cats were free to roam around with others, averaging about 10 cats each, and a 3rd room that has cages of multiple sizes for cats that did not do well with others. And lastly, to identify a need, they were looking to lower their length of stay in general for their animals to improve their numbers and intake more animals each year due to that. So it lined up perfectly with what I was looking to help with. My methods. The first part was data collection. I obtained length of stay data for over 1,200 animals between 2022 and 2023. I also collected foster data, which included the length of time any animal entered a foster home while at the shelter, so that I could subtract that from their total time at the shelter. So to do that, I took their total length of stay in days and subtracted the total number of days they were in foster. This included if they came back and had to return to foster for any reason, so that I was purely looking at the number of days these animals were on the adoption floor being seen by clients. Next was to implement the experimental elements. So I obtained items for both the treat buckets, chutes, and baskets for the cat rooms, and affixed the buckets approximately 3 feet above the floor for the dogs so that it was not encouraging them to jump or do other undesirable behaviors and make them more likely to come to the front to engage with people and keep 4 feet on the floor or sit to take treats. For the cat baskets, they were each hung on a wall in one of the cat rooms and had easy access for clients to take items as needed and replace them when they were done. Lastly, after the testable period, going over collected data. So getting length of stay data for all of the animals during the testable period, as well as any foster data that I had from that time, and doing the same thing of creating adjusted length of stay. And then from that data, creating graphs comparing the general length of stay versus the adjusted, and then taking the adjusted and comparing it across the entire year of 2022, the testable period of February and January, and the control of those same months in 2022. The interactive elements you can see pictured below. The first two pictures are examples of the treat buckets and chutes that you can see uniformly across the dog kennels, and in the middle there, one of our shelter dogs sitting nice as an example of one waiting to get treats. And on the end there, an example of one of the cat baskets. Each one included a paper listing the items inside the basket and how to use them, such as throwing away wrappers for lickable cat treats when you were done, spraying catnip spray on blankets and bedding and not directly on the animal, and so on. Next here are two graphs for the adjusted length of stay for both cats and dogs. For cats, there was no difference whatsoever during the months of January and February that I looked at for 2022 or 2023. This meant no cats entered foster during that time. There was a slight difference for dogs, so a couple of the dogs did enter either foster to adopt or regular foster during this time. When you look at the full year for 2022, there was a difference seen between average length of stay and adjusted. It was more significant for cats. This is likely due to what we affectionately refer to as kitten season, where there's a big boom in found litters of kittens outside, and these are often too young to be adopted out because they are not ready for surgery, so they go into foster, and that drives up the foster time. So what this tells us via the graph is that we have not yet hit kitten season, and once you go further into the year, you will start to see cats outpace dogs in length of time in foster. Now here in a chart form, we have all adopted cats, all outgoing cats, which includes other outcomes besides adoption, which may be rescue or transfer. The same applied for dogs, and then shelter total, which includes all outgoing cats and dogs. The testable period was between January 11th, 2023 and February 8th, 2023. The control period were those same exact weeks in the previous year. And then we have the full year review for 2022 to show the difference between the year as a whole versus that snapshot in the first 2 months. Moving here, we have those same numbers displayed more readily in graph form. For our adopted cats, we did see an actual increase in length of stay during the testable period, which was not an expected result, so that is interesting. For adopted dogs, we did see a decrease of about 2 days, which was great. That's what we were looking for, to have a decrease in length of stay, so showing that it was more effective for dogs than it was for cats. And for the overall shelter totals, we also saw a good bit of decrease there as well, which is what we were looking for. Now, the implications of these results, it shows that there is a promising avenue to explore when it comes to human-animal bonds and how they relate to adoption rates and length of stay. So doing further research with that is something that can potentially have large effects on shelter animals as a whole. We did see that dogs have a higher success rate than cats, which is something that is supported by other studies and research. Dogs in general stay much shorter times in shelters than cats do. So our results for the most part were in line with that dogs had a better response to this study than cats did. And Why this is important to know is because it is useful information for the improvement for positive outcomes for shelter animals. As stated in the beginning, the percentages that we're working with are astounding, and anything we can do to lower those are tremendously helpful for the animals that enter the shelter system. Moving forward, I would like there to be more testing, broadening it from just the few weeks that we were able to obtain in the study to get a better sense of what those numbers look like when applied for an entire year. Also testing other shelters to see if this is just the case for this one specific location and how their shelter operates, or if applying the same method to other locations as well would yield similar results. There also needs to be changes to the approach for cats, since it did not have a positive impact on the length of stay for cats, needing to look into that more and rework it to see what will give them better length of stay results. And lastly, to jump off of that, is implementing public surveys for people who are entering the shelter in general to see if they adopted, why, what made them pick a particular animal, and so on to get a better feel for what's drawing people towards one animal over another and use those to inform changes to the tests. And lastly, I'd like to thank you guys for listening, as well as thank my partner organization for allowing me to work there and take the time to help these animals and try to make an improvement to what they have going on. And here are my references. Thank you.